Hi, welcome to our third episode of Behind the Patch, where we get to know our fellow pirates a little better and highlight the greater things that we do. I'm your host for the day, and today I have the honor to welcome a very special guest, Dr. Janet Schulze. So give us an introduction about yourself.
All right, so I am your superintendent. And so the superintendent is the person who's in charge of everything in a school district. And so the school board, who's elected, selects one person that they get to hire, and that's the superintendent. And then the superintendent, which is me in Pittsburgh, then manages everything in the school. So it's sort of like being the principal of the principals. And this is my 12th year in this
12th
position.
year? Oh my God, how does that feel? Like, how's that accomplishment of being here for over a decade?
It's really special because there's some of our scholars I met when they were in elementary school, and now I see them here at Pittsburgh High School, or they've already graduated. And so to be in a place long enough to see the changes that we've been trying to do and see a lot of them come to fruition is super meaningful. And just getting to know the community over the years and go to all the amazing events and everything is very, very special to have that length of time somewhere.
Oh, that's so nice. And speaking of high school, you were once obviously a high schooler yourself. So I'm curious to know, what high school did you attend and how would you describe yourself during your high school years?
Oh gosh. So I attended two high schools. So I went to a Catholic high school for a ninth grade year, and then I switched to the public high school. And I grew up in Wisconsin. I grew up in a city called Beloit, and it's right on the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. So about an hour and a half drive from Chicago, but also, which is in Illinois, but then also about an hour and a half from Milwaukee. And it was a city of about 36,000. So we also had one comprehensive public high school. So that's where I went for high school. It was Beloit Memorial High School, Purple Knights, yay. And so in high school, I was involved in theater, yearbook. We didn't have all of this cool technology stuff back in the old ages there. But I was involved in theater, yearbook, some student government, things like that. Our high school at that time was only 10th, 11th, and 12th. So the public high school, the junior high was a 7th, 8th, and 9th grade.
Oh, okay.
And then you'd go to high school for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So the other thing I did was at that time, similar to how we have dual enrollment classes here with Los Medanos College, there was a small liberal arts college in Beloit. And so we were able to take classes there. We would have to go in person to that college. And so if we had grades and applied, we could take a class there, and it was called the Porter Scholar Program. So that's what I did in high school.
Oh, that's so. How was it like shifting from a Catholic high school to a public high school?
The biggest thing was the size. My Catholic high school had maybe 60 students in our grade, and the public high school had 500 in my grade, right? And so it was a much bigger experience, much more diverse. And that's what I really wanted for myself too, more opportunities. Because it was larger, there were more classes, more electives to take too.
Oh, okay, that's nice. And speaking of high school, I have this picture right here, and I wanted to ask you what is going on. Can you describe this picture for us?
Yes, this is a great picture. I post this. I will send it this year as well too. So this is, do I need to hold it up here so you all see? This is my prom. This is actually my junior prom, and I'm at my house. My mom and I lived in a duplex, and so I'm downstairs, and I'm on the phone. Kids, this was once a thing. There were phones attached to walls, and that's the only communication you had. And I'm assuming I was talking to my date, who was coming to pick me up, and I'm wearing my gunny sack prom dress and the baby's breath in my hair. But I remember, and then my senior year for prom, there was a whole group of us that went as friends, which was super fun too. So that was prom.
Cute. Oh, what do you remember from prom night?
We had our prom in the gym at our high school. And so it was decorated beautifully. And there was just like a lot of fun dancing, and the chocolate fountain, I think, is timeless. We had one too. So I remember those, having the food and the snacks. We went to dinner beforehand, but just a really good time to be with our friends. And dancing a lot together to all that good 80s music.
Oh, do you remember the last song that they played at your prom?
What was the last song? I think it was, you know what? I don't. I
No?
don't remember it.
Okay, but
Mm-mm.
speaking on music, if we could teleport back in time to that, Janet, what type of vibe did your bedroom have? Like, what type of posters did you have up? What made up your room?
Oh gosh, I had so I grew up well, I was in high school in the 80s, and so I loved music. I had music posters, I had decorations. I would describe it nowadays as kind of like boho. I had,
Mm,
even then I had like little plants and things around,
mm-hmm.
just making it cozy. I shared a room with my sister
Oh,
until I have two older sisters, and then I didn't have my own room until the last one went to college, who was 3 years older than me. So those last 3 years of high school, I had my own room during my high school years, and so that was
oh,
nice.
so both of your older sisters went to college?
Yes, my
Mm,
sisters and I were the first in our families to go to
okay.
college. And so my oldest sister is an artist. She
Mm,
also works for a company that supports like website design. And then she does her art and shows her art. And she lives in Wisconsin. And then my next oldest sister is an attorney. She's a partner in a law firm and she does business law. And then there's me. And so,
okay.
but we were the first to go to college in our family. So that was really special for us.
Was there anything from their high school experience that helped you throughout your high school experience? I mean, college experience?
From their high school experience
Their
that
college
from their
experience.
college
Yeah.
experience. I think having two older sisters was helpful, because then they could kind of help with what it would be like when I went to college. But my oldest sister went to a different college than
Mm-hmm.
I did, and then the second oldest sister was at the same university that I went to, University of Wisconsin Madison, and so that would be like the main state school for
Yeah.
Wisconsin. It would be like going to UCLA here
Oh.
or one of the big, but it was the biggest university
Oh.
of the public universities, the
Oh.
University of Wisconsin system. And so that was helpful because she could kind of show me around and how to register for
Yeah,
classes and
she
some
gave you
things like that.
guidance. Mm-hmm, that's nice. Okay, so speaking of college, what was your first job in education and what did you learn from it?
After college,
Yeah,
my
after
very
college.
first job was a teacher. And
Okay.
so when I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do. No one in my family's in education or
Mm-hmm.
in teaching. I changed my major a number of times, which was totally fine. I
Mm-hmm.
think you all have a lot of pressure sometimes to think, oh, I have to be this or no. But I changed my major, I don't know, at least 3 times when
Really?
I was in college.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I was in, I thought I would go into art, then I
Uh-huh.
was in the journalism
Oh.
school. I was going to go into advertising, but the whole time I was taking English classes, English literature. And
Mm.
so I loved English and reading and literature. So when I got to about my junior year in college, I decided, oh, teaching, that makes sense. I'll be able to teach English. And so my first job was as an English teacher then. And it was a seventh grade English and reading.
Mm-hmm. How was that experience
That was my
like?
first job out of college. I
Yeah.
worked all through college, but
Uh-huh.
that was like waitressing and working in the student union, the
Mm-hmm.
library. I loved
Mm-hmm.
teaching. I taught seventh grade English and reading. I actually moved from Wisconsin to El Paso, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a new adventure, an opportunity. So I was Wisconsin wasn't really growing at the time, but the whole Southwest really was, and there were lots of job opportunities. So I thought it would be something exciting and a new experience and to experience a different culture. So I moved to El Paso, Texas, and that's where I taught. And I loved it. It was seventh grade English and reading. And so I would have the students for 2 hours at
Oh.
a time, three different sections of students. So I got to really know them.
Okay. And well, teaching and being a superintendent, it is in the same field, but it's also very different. So,
Mhm.
was there a moment when you knew like the path you wanted to pursue in your career?
I think once I found teaching, I knew I always wanted to be involved in public education.
Yeah.
Like that, I felt like this is it, this is my passion.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started teaching, After I was teaching for a couple of years, the principal at the time said, "Hey, have you thought about going into administration?" And I said, "No, and he says, "Well, you should really start thinking about what you want to do 5 years from now in case you want to change." And so I thought about it. So I started going back to school, and then thought about different things that would be interesting to me. And so I landed on administration. And then I went back to school at night in the summers and got my master's to become a site administrator. And so then I was an assistant principal at a high school next. And I really loved that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a while. And then I found out about a graduate program for a doctoral program. And I was ready to leave El Paso. And so I applied for a doctoral program at Harvard. And they had a program that was specific for urban superintendents. And I thought, ooh, that sounds really cool. I want to do that. So I applied and was lucky enough to get in.
Oh, okay.
So I always knew public education was it once I found teaching. And then I kind of, as I, you know, um, worked in different things and was exposed to different things, then I thought about something else still within public education, but that might be a different job, like an assistant principal, a principal, etc.
Okay. And looking back, if you weren't pursuing education, what career do you think you would have taken? And it doesn't have to be
Gosh.
one that because you went to school with. It could also be like a wacky one like cooking or
Mhm.
like becoming an astronaut. What do you think?
Gosh, I think maybe something like with interior design or architecture, maybe something around that. Like
Oh,
how,
okay.
like I'm just totally admiring this whole set and what you all have done here, and it just gives me ideas. Something creative around that. Probably something in interior design, or also maybe like managing an art gallery.
Oh, okay. So similar to what you studied before in college a little bit.
No, I didn't study any.
No?
Well, I took some
Well,
art
art
classes,
classes,
but
yeah.
yeah, but I didn't study those things. But
Mm,
they're just kind of like
They
things that I
they
would think
appeal to you?
interesting.
Okay. And in the 12 years of being superintendent here in Pittsburgh, what has been the biggest highlight of it all?
Oh gosh, definitely the students.
Yeah?
No matter what I think about in any area, it's if I think about things that we've been able to do that open more doors and opportunities for students,
Mm-hmm.
that's the highlight for me, because it in education, everything should always be the student should be number one.
Mm-hmm.
So every decision that we make, I have it written in my office. How does this impact the teaching and learning for the students every
Mm-hmm.
day? Like, how is this going to make a positive impact on the students? And so that really is the highlight of thinking about, no matter what was it that benefited
Okay.
for you all.
Yeah, speaking of the students, we do have obviously a huge amount of students graduating this year. And it's really ironic because, we have been in school for 12 years and you have been superintendent for 12 years.
I
So when we
know.
started school, you became a superintendent. So what do you hope every student here in Pittsburgh High School walks away with before they graduate?
What I want for every student, every young person, is to really be able to make true choices for
Yeah.
yourself. That we've empowered you, and that you've learned enough so that you can decide what you want for yourself, that there's not a barrier to it, whether it's going to college right away, whether it's working, whether it's 5 years from now, when that you, as you build and continue to grow. I hope that we've equipped you to, you know, really be able to make true choices for yourself and be a lifelong learner. We did a graduate profile when
Mm-hmm.
I first came, called Vision 2027. So
Mm-hmm.
almost your graduation year, and put down, and some of you may see it, the posters in your rooms, and those are the characteristics where we had a lot of community and students give input into what are those things, like being a critical thinker and being a good citizen and a lifelong learner. Those are all things that I want for you all.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I see it every time. Like even when I went to the Super Stack meeting,
Yeah.
I seen how you like care so much for the students, and I really admire that, you know.
Thanks.
And so I'm also curious to know, what does a typical day look like for a superintendent? Like, what do you do in the morning? What do you do at night? What do you do between the morning and night?
I think what's really interesting about being a superintendent is there is no typical day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day can look different depending, but it's a combination of meetings, listening to people, hearing what their concerns are, then also planning for what we can do to have things be better, spending time in schools, really seeing what's happening, supporting all of our amazing staff that we have here. So there's no typical day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have elected school board, so we have school board meetings about twice a month, and so there's one tonight. So that's part of it where I work with the board, and they have to do decisions on um, things that are happening in the district, or we give them updates on what's happening, and they give us feedback. So it's always different, which is what I love.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is the day always is different, but the goal is always the same.
Exactly. The goal is always about what can we do more and better for students, but the day might look completely different
Is there
from day to
any
day.
like calmer days, any like more rush days, or are they always rushed?
You know, you have to be ready. There's certainly calmer days where there's more like meetings or just
Yeah.
this opportunity
Uh-huh.
and everything is so wonderful. But something could happen that could change that, and you have to quick be ready to support.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of planning, and it's what's really important is to keep our goals focused so that we don't let all of the other things get in the way of making progress, though, towards making things better for the students.
Okay. So, 12 years ago, you did become superintendent, but where do you see yourself in the next 5 years from now?
That's a great question. I think I'm interested in doing work on policy. So sometimes I see policies that are in place in our state that could be improved to make it easier to give access and opportunities for all
Mm-hmm.
of our students. So I would like to work in a way where I could help affect change um, to kind of clear some barriers
Mm-hmm.
that might be impacting our students getting what they deserve.
Oh, okay. So continuing kind of like what you're already doing, but reaching out
Hmm.
more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing I'm really interested in is teaching. I would
Mm-hmm.
love to teach people who are aspiring to become an administrator or who want to become a superintendent and teach their classes, when they're going to graduate school. And sometimes I think about doing an English class again, teaching again at a high school or middle school would be really fun too, because I loved teaching.
And what advice would you give those people that you could be teaching in the future that want to become an administrator or a superintendent?
Mhm. I think follow your passions
Mm-hmm.
and plan out. I think the advice that my very first principal that I worked for
Yeah.
gave me in terms of think about where you want to be 5 years from now and then start, but don't think you need to have all the answers. If it's something you're exploring or you're interested in, then maybe take a class, see how you like it, do some things at your school that are to support the principal, maybe take on, a something that could be like a administrator would do, see how you like it, and then go from there. But always, follow what feels good to you that you want to do that gives you that passion. Because we're really, really, I always feel very, very fortunate to have found work that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't seem like it's work in a negative way. It's work and it's hard work and um but the purpose is there, so it becomes even more than it becomes part of who I am.
Yeah, it
And I
feels
wish
less
that
like
for
a
people.
job. It
Hmm.
starts to feel less like a job because of
Yeah.
how much you love it. So then, what advice would you give a current student in this current generation?
I think, um really take your time. Don't feel so much pressure. I think it must be so challenging for young people today because there's so much that you see on social
Yeah.
media. There's so much that you see on the news. There's a lot of things that are not that are hard to see that are really challenging. So I think making sure that you have your supports for yourself, whether it's your network of friends, your family, that you're taking care of yourself, and that you don't put too much pressure on yourself, and really know that things will end up working out. Life has a way of working out, and there are going to be moments that um, just natural part of growing up. There's going to be moments where you doubt yourself or you feel like, nervous. And I just want, that's totally normal. I still have those now. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't, go away. But I think for young people, it can be, um, it can be really stressful. And so just making sure that you're taking care of yourself, staying connected, don't put too much pressure on yourself, and really enjoy the
Mm-hmm.
moments that where you're with your friends and your family, and what your future will come together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those words will really mean a lot to like the Pittsburgh Senior Pirates here because we are a lot like stressed out right now with applications, deciding
Mhm.
what school to go to. But at the end of the day, like life is gonna find a way to change and like take us to the right path.
Yeah.
So everything that you're saying, like it does like sound like it's
Yeah.
true.
You want to make
Um,
sure you're not so stressed that you miss the experiences
yeah,
of it too,
exactly.
even, and just know that it's normal to have, all the feelings.
It is normal, and we're all experiencing it
Yep,
together. Even you saying like that, you also experience that. It's not just a certain
absolutely.
group of people; it's everyone that could feel it. But
Absolutely.
like you said, life goes the way it's supposed to go.
Hmm.
But to end off, I wanted to ask you 15 rapid fire
Oh,
questions.
rapid fire. Okay, I better
Yeah,
have a drink of water
hydrate
from my
yourself.
HBCU mug. I hope the
Are those
team has.
stickers?
No, it's part of the all the colleges that they're going to go on a tour of
Oh
over spring break.
my
So I
god!
know, isn't that amazing? So I wish them a great time.
Whoa!
But I better take a sip of water before my
Yeah.
rapid fire.
All of those colleges during spring break. Wow, I'm excited for spring break. I
Hmm.
heard your spring break was coming up. Are you excited? What are you
I
planning on
am. I
doing?
am. I'm gonna take some time and spend some time with my family. And
Hmm.
so I actually got married a little over 2 years ago.
Oh,
I
congratulations!
know. So you probably thought I was going to say like 20 years ago, but no, just a little over two,
Uh-huh.
2 years ago. So we're going to enjoy some time. And
Hmm.
so that's always special too.
Oh, okay. Okay, so start off the rapid fire questions. Okay,
Okay.
coffee or tea?
Depends.
Okay, depends. So also, I'm sure this might say depends, but Starbucks or Dutch Bros?
Dutch Bros.
Dutch. Oh, really? What do you get?
Now, if you had said
Put me
Phil's, I
on.
would have said Phil's. But I actually just like regular lattes.
Lattes? Oh, okay. Favorite fast food spot?
Oh gosh, I don't eat much fast food, so what would it have been? I will say that I used to really love Taco Bell.
Taco Bell?
I
Really?
did. I did. I haven't had it in years, but that used to be
Have
my
you tried their
go-to.
nacho fries?
No.
No? Oh,
No.
they're good.
Are they good? Okay,
They're
maybe I
good.
might have to
You might have to go
go
back.
back. I don't know.
Okay. Favorite school subject growing up?
English.
English? Okay. Well, that makes sense. One word to describe Pittsburgh students?
Oh gosh, impressive.
Impressive. Oh, I like that one. Okay, emails or phone calls?
Depends.
Depends. Okay, in-person meetings or Zoom?
I prefer in person, but it's
Mm.
also depends. Sometimes Zoom is convenient, but in
Mhm.
person.
Okay, go-to karaoke song?
Tainted Love.
Tainted Love. Okay. Can you give us a
From the
little
80s.
snippet?
No.
No. Okay.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Maybe next time.
Singing is not my talent.
Maybe next time. Okay. Favorite movie?
I don't have one favorite movie. Oh gosh, there's so many good ones.
I'm the same way.
It would be really hard for me to pick
What
one.
about a favorite show? Do you have a favorite show?
Oh gosh, I'm bad. I've been watching Shrinking recently. That's been good. I don't really have a favorite show. Like I when there was like regular TV, we used to
Yeah.
watch like all my friends would come over and we would watch like Melrose Place and Ally McBeal,
Oh.
things like that. But I don't really have a show I watch anymore. I'll do some of the series or movies, but
Oh, I'm the same way. I don't really have a favorite show
it's
or
hard to,
movie.
yeah.
I know. Okay, favorite way to spend your weekend?
I've been really enjoying gardening lately, and so I've been doing a lot of gardening, and then I have some indoor plants, and so I also like hiking. So we have a dog, we have a lab, so my husband and I will go hiking up in the hills, take our dog hiking. I like to spend some time with my stepdaughters. They're grown in their 20s. They love to cook, so I enjoy eating, having dinner parties with friends, having people over. Yeah, gardening, planting, all of those things.
Okay. And what motivates you every day?
Honestly, it really is the students that motivate me every day. Every time that there's even anything that is stressful or I'm thinking about, I think about, that same saying, and I think about, I picture you all, whether I know you, one-on-one, like we've had a chance to meet or not. I just picture all of the students and just the futures that you have and how, I use that word impressive because I'm always so impressed by the young people here in Pittsburgh. I think you're just brilliant and amazing and have so many gifts and talents. You've grown up in a environment and a culture where you're accepting of other people and I just I think and that's what motivates me and that's what makes me know that our future is going to be that we're all going to be okay. It's going to be a positive future because we're just moments away from you all being able to vote, being able to have influence, being in different jobs. And so it's just so hopeful every time. I love coming to the schools and seeing you all because it's just fun and you're full of just, you can just see the future. It's such a gift to be able to do this.
Well, thank you so much for those words. That means a lot as a pirate,
Yeah.
It's nice to see that like we have kind of like people that are here to guide us and protect us through it all. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
If there's anything that you would like to say to the camera before we leave.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. You're a wonderful host. Thank you to all of the crew that has worked so hard to put this together. I love that you're learning this. I mean, go crew back there. They are.
Go crew.
They make sure everything's in place, Mr. Orozco, the whole class, and really to all the pirates, go Pirates. Everyone here wants nothing but the best for you. And please let us know if you need anything. We are all here to support you and just, I'm just so thankful to have had all of this time with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
No.
Go ahead.
Yay! Thank you.
Yay!